What is up, FPG fam? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Tower Fantasy video. So in today's video, I thought we would go ahead and do a tier list finally, and I thought it would be really cool that every time we get a new character introduced to the game, we would update this tier list and see where they land on it. So let me know what you guys think about that in the comments down below. Also, just a few disclaimers before we jump into it. First and foremost, of course, this is just my opinion. Having hands-on experience with these characters through the closed test client for the IDA Pioneer program, and I use that hands-on experience and cross-reference it with the IDA Cafe on Discord as well as tof.gg. So I'm going to leave a link to both of their information down in the description below. I implore you, check them out. They have great guides and information, so it will help you in the game of Tower Fantasy. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump straight into it. And this is a PVE tier list, not a PvP tier list. I haven't had hands-on experience with PvP just yet, so once I do, maybe I'll do a separate tier list for that. Let me know what you guys think. Anyways, let's go ahead and get right into it. So I'm gonna go ahead and start out with King. I think King is a great character. I do highly value shield breakers, and you know, King being one of the best ones, I have to put him up there. Great shield breaker, does some good damage, has a great discharge, feels fluid in terms of the basic attack. So I like King, I do value him, and not needing a whole lot of advancements on him to be really good. So King is just a great value, great character to have, or Simulacra I should say, on your account. So moving on from there, we have Nemesis, and I do put Nemesis in the S+ tier for multiple different reasons. Nemesis has great utilities with the passive healing, the off-field DPS, and being able to do some pretty good damage herself. Volt teams benefit greatly from Nemesis as well, being able to buff the Volt teams, and that is only going to increase as the game further progresses as well. Nemesis doesn't need a whole lot of advancements also, but if you do, that's only going to buff the healing and the damage that she can do. So Nemesis all around is just a great Simulacra to get on your account and to invest in. So I put Nemesis in the S+ tier as well. Now this one might be a bit controversial, but I do really like Meryl, and once again I value shield breakers greatly in this game just because of how important I feel they are. So I put Meryl in the S+ tier. I just really like Meryl as a Simulacra on the account, because Meryl is able to shield break well, do some pretty good damage, but I really like her skill having that hyper body or hyper armor, not being able to get knocked out of that. I just find that to be really valuable as well. And once you get some advancements on Meryl also, the healing is insane. Meryl does some great damage, so I really like Meryl as a beginner character, or Simulacra I should say, and then as one that's really valuable to invest in. I think once you get more advancements or investment in Meryl, she becomes more valuable than King in my opinion, so just keep that in mind. Now the next Simulacra we're going to talk about is Shiro, and I think Shiro is a little undervalued or underestimated. I think Shiro is a great Simulacra, and I would argue that she is at least A tier in my opinion. She's a great sub DPS, can do some pretty good damage, can shield break pretty decently. I think has great advancements as well. The only thing about Shiro is that the attacks for her, for the basic attacks, are pretty linear in terms of they just go straight forward unless you do the skill or you do the hold attack. But overall, I think Shiro brings a lot of value to teams, especially if you don't have a strong shield breaker or a strong DPS. Shiro can kind of fill those categories or roles for you. So I really like this character or Simulacra. I'm going to go ahead and put Shiro in the A tier. Now the next Simulacra that I wanted to talk about is Samira, and I do absolutely adore Samira, and I put her in the S tier. Now I know some people would argue S+ tier, and I'm not going to argue against you if you did this, but I put Samira in the S tier strictly because she's just a DPS and that's all she really is. Arguably the best DPS, if not the best, but there's no other utility outside of that. So I put Samira in the S tier, and very high S tier. Once again, if you want to say S+, I'm not going to argue against you. Samira is a great Simulacra on any account, does some great damage, doesn't need advancements to be great, has safe aerial attacks. I love Samira. I think she's great. Pair with Nemesis and you have a very early stompage TOF team that can really carry you, especially in the early game once again. So I love Samira. I think S tier is great for her. The next simulacra we're going to talk about is Tsubasa. Once again, I think Tsubasa is another one that was overlooked or underestimated or undervalued, but Tsubasa is actually a really good DPS. Tsubasa is able to stack damage upon damage, and once you start to do that, Tsubasa becomes a really strong main DPS for your team, especially if you don't have Samira. And I think Tsubasa is going to be very valuable in the later half of TOF as well, as we get more characters introduced, especially for ice teams. Tsubasa is going to be great, and so I'm going to put Tsubasa in the S tier just because of how great of a main DPS she is, the stacking mechanic that she has, and what she brings to the table probably late game. So I'm going to go ahead and put Tsubasa right there in S tier. You know, some people have her A or B. I like her in S. So the next simulacra that I did want to talk about is Zero. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put Zero in the B tier, and here's the reason why. Zero is a great simulacra that can provide a shield and do some pretty decent damage. The only issue for me with Zero is that the basic attacks are a little funky, but not only that, in order to get the healing mechanics that Zero provides, you have to get advancements on this character. If I'm not mistaken, the advancements are what provides the healing for Zero. If you don't have that, then you just get the shield and the damage. So because of that reason, if you don't have copies of Zero, then you're missing out on what I believe is a very strong part of Zero's kit that really brings a lot of value to this simulacra in particular. That's why they say once you get copies or advancements on Zero, he does really carry and provide a lot of really good utility. But outside of that, he's just a very tanky simulacra and has some decent utility. So for those reasons, and the basic attacks not being, in my opinion, the most fluid, I do put Zero in the B tier. Once again, a great simulacra, just in my opinion needs some advancements. We're moving on to Huma, and Huma is once again another simulacra just like Shiro and Tsubasa that I feel is a little overlooked or undervalued. But I will put Huma in the A tier, and the reason being is because Huma has that really cool mechanic going back and forth between shield and axe. Shield for the CC and the shield breaking, axe for being able to do damage, and being able to switch between the two just depending on your playstyle or what is needed for said scenario. I really like that mechanic, so I like Huma. I think Huma is a tanky, strong simulacra that I don't think enough people are really putting enough value on. She can do damage, she can CC, she can shield break to a decent degree. So I think Huma being just that well-rounded simulacra that can fill multiple categories of roles for you is a great thing to have. So I'm gonna go ahead and put Huma in the A tier. Now we have Coco Ritter, and I'm gonna go ahead and put Coco in the S tier. And the reason being is because Coco is the best healer in the game, and no one can compete with Coco. And because of that reason, because she kind of stands alone in that category, I put Coco in the S tier. Just such a great healer. Once again, can fit in the ice teams. I mean, that's really all you need to know about Coco. Not much to say, just a really good simulacra to have. Great utility, great support. I like Coco, put it in the S tier. Now, last but not least, we have Crow. And I'm going to go ahead and put Crow in the A tier. So as you can see, there's no need for the C tier. I don't think any simulacra is necessarily C tier, so I might get rid of that for the next one. Who knows? But I will put Crow in the A tier. And the reason being is because Crow is a great simulacra that has the potential to do some amazing amount of damage and has the potential to output the most amount of damage. There's just a lot of niches to Crow that kind of brings this simulacra down to the A tier for me personally. So one of the things that holds him back is that to get the max damage for Crow, you need to implement a very specific technique for the drill plunge attack that he does. And because of that reason, and because you can't perform that on every single enemy or boss that's in the game for TOF, it's very niche. The potential for Crow really unlocks with advancements. Once you start getting advancements on this character, he starts to instantly start shooting up with each advancement to S and then S+, because you start to unlock 100% crits, crit damage, just crazy amount of things that can really ramp this simulacra up to be a damage dealer. But without those advancements, he's just a pretty good damage dealer. But with advancements, he becomes a superb damage dealer. So it's just one of those things with Crow that is just unfortunate that a lot of his potential is unlocked between a niche mechanic and advancements. But other than that, Crow is a great simulacra. Once again, paired with Nemesis, you have a great damage dealer even at low advancements or low stars, able to attack fast. I love the basic attacks. I love the animations for Crow. So Crow's a great simulacra. I just go ahead and I put him in the A tier. But this is my tier list, guys. Just basically my thoughts and opinions on these simulacras up to this point so far in the game. Once again, as we start to get more characters introduced, I will update the tier list, and there might be some rearrangements. Also, looking at your guys' comments down below and your opinions, we may rearrange these as well. But I feel pretty comfortable where these simulacras are at the moment, and then we'll go ahead and update this as we get new characters. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you like what you saw today. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments. I'm eager to see what you guys have to say. But anyways, I'm going to get on out of here. Remember to stand out, be different, have fun, go further beyond in everything that you do. My name is Cody, but you can call me further. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.